You have a new journal, a very pretty journal in front of you. Now what? How do you get started? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Don't you know where to start? Keep it right here if you would like to hear 6 ways on how you can get started and get over that initial feeling that you have. Hello everybody, this is Priya here. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning, and if this is the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Here I share tips, ideas and inspiration to make your planner and journal spreads pretty and functional. So for this video, I'm using this new dark red journal that was gifted to me by Archer and Olive, and I have this B5 as part of my daily journal lineup for 2025. And this is the polar penguin. Let me just put the case aside and put this away so that we can focus on the book. So you could use any other brand. I'm just showing what I have in hand. So it can be quite overwhelming. I've been there. I've just stared at journals, really pretty journals. See, look at that. And when you see such a pretty, luxurious piece of stationery, you obviously feel overwhelmed and you're not sure where to start. So I thought this was a much requested one on YouTube. So that is why I decided to have a video for that. So you could use any other journals, say from Happy Planner or Leela journals. Look at those designs. Leela journals or Notebook Therapy, or I will also link a few doctorate journals from Amazon if you are into this world. So on to the first idea, which is decorating the name page. And I have a mix of inks and stamps and stickers and washi tapes and some distress oxides, everything out, because I really love to explore. And these are some stickers from Planet Derby. From my stash, of course. This was from last year, if I'm not mistaken. I will link all the shops and products I'm using. And for Archer and Olive products, I'm using that scrap piece of paper before we get into that. So I'm just trying to show you the basics of the distress oxides as well. I have tutorials on how you can get started and all the basics. So I'm just trying to see what colors will go well with the polar theme, because winter is my favorite season. So it was a no-brainer that I wanted to do something related to the Arctic or the polar regions, and I wanted these animals, and that's a cookie jar, and I use that to store my extra heads and these brushes. So, and that's the Velcro dot. I will link all of these products if you want to check out any of these and grab these organization and these fun things you can try with the distress oxide. So I have the Velcro dot and I have the heads attached behind each of the inks so that I wouldn't mix the colors. So I'm just making sure that the brushes don't mix. And this is I think this is the one I was really keen on using, because that's, to my understanding, that's the color that will go well, but there's always a possibility I could be wrong because it's been a few weeks since I used it. So that's the salty ocean and the stormy sky, which I've used in a couple of spaces in my journals and planners. It's a perfect color for the nice spring rains or any of those dark sky scenes you need. So these are scraps from the Dutch doors I create. I do have a separate playlist for the creative journal setups and the daily journal setups. All of those are linked in the description if you want to check that out. So the verdict is I'm going with the salty ocean, which I had initially thought And I'm also grabbing a scrap piece of paper because I need to make sure that the ink stays just on this page and does not bleed onto the other spaces. So this was a sticker sheet from the advent calendar from Let's Plan with Sarah, but it did not cut properly. My pre-cut was off with the calibration, I guess, so I went ahead and did that. So this is the scrap piece of paper in from my recycle bin. So just have some scrap piece of paper underneath so that you can get those crisp lines along the edge. And I'm just dusting the edges of the page. I could have sped it up. I might, in fact, do a bit of speeding here. But I wanted to make sure that it can be a very therapeutic and really relaxing process for you. Just don't overthink it. That's what I like to tell myself. So just moving that page a bit onto the other side so that any of the excess can be collected on that paper underneath. And that's just it because usually I use the glass mat for the Happy Planner pages because I can take off the pages. But with a book bound journal or a planner, you just don't have the luxury, and it gets quite bumpy and it gets quite unstable when you try to layer multiple elements. So this is, I think the scrap piece of paper works better for the journals from my experience. If you check out my videos, you will see that I really love to use the mixed media in my journals and planners. So that's why I thought I will just try and come up with something related to the inks in here. And this is just one of the ideas I'm sharing. And I do also have a couple of spreads here with just the name page decorated with stickers. So I'll share that in a bit. So we are on to the next idea in the meantime, because I need to wait for those inks to kind of settle down on the page. So on to the second idea, which is doing a pen test in the back. So that it's just that initial feeling that you need to overcome, because once you get started, you will want to keep going. So I just attach that clip so that it can lay down flat. And I have this set of pens. These two are from Journal Say, just like the other paper clip that's in the shape of a hand. Those are all from Journal Say. And these are some Pentel sign brush pens. So I'm just picking a couple of colors which I think will go with the theme. And these pens are, again, brush pens from Journal Say. And I will try and link the shop. So for Journal Say, you can use my code Priya for 8% off. And if there are sales happening, you can stack them on top. And for Arch and Olive, also, usually you're able to stack the 10% off coupon, which is Priya 10. And any of the journals, they just came out with a whole bunch of amazing goodies. So check out the shops because you will always have something for you. So I'm just trying to make sure that I do some basic lettering here. So I'll just go ahead and fast forward and meet you after it's done. So now that we are back after our pen test, I'm not worried with the arch and olive paper that there will be any ghosting or bleeding at all because it's a nice 160 GSM thick paper. So I will just leave it alone until I will need to pick the color we need for the name. So I'm going with these polar penguin sticker set that was also sent to me, and this is a nice two-sheet set, making sure it's in frame. And it is available in the printable version also if you would like to see that. And you can combine it with stickers, which I'm going to do now because I want to have a nice background or a scene at the bottom, something really small. And I also may use some of these snowflakes, which, as you can see, I've used up quite a bit last year because I always love to bring in these stickers, and I'm just making sure that I combine them in a way that it does not overpower it, the whole scene, because the polar animals are the focus points. So I'm going with my tweezer, the needle nose tweezers, and it's such a convenient way of picking up, especially the clear stickers, because if you are like me, the clear stickers just don't want to come off the page when I go to get them. So I'm just trying to create a scene, something not repetitive, something not exactly the same as the next adjacent one. So I'm trying to create a small scene here, and it will be something small at the bottom because it can be something to look at in the distance. So again, just go ahead with your imagination, and this is something that I wanted to see, but trust me, you wouldn't look at this very often unless you really are intentional about it. But this is a nice way to take care of some of that feeling of overwhelm that you feel, especially with new ones, because I've been there, and I kept my pretty journals on my bookcase for, yeah, almost 2 years before I decided to go ahead and dive right in. And I did not even wait until January of a year. So I had started my creative journal in November last year, and I'm so glad I did. It's such a great outlet when it comes to getting creative. Otherwise, you're just making your to do list pretty, right? So, I wanted to bring in these snow stickers also, the piles of snow, and it can be really useful when you try and combine it with other animal elements. Ooh, I can't talk. So I'm just trimming off that white edge. And this was on paper, but if you had printed that on clear, things can look so seamless and you wouldn't even have to trim around there. And I'm going with, no, that just doesn't look right. I wanted to take off that sharp edge of the snow pile. And it is, if you are keen on getting sticker paper, I have those linked below as well. I have the removable sticker paper, which is really important when it comes to repositioning the stickers without tearing them. And I also have the clear mat and the paper mat if you want to check that out. And if you're looking for recommendations for good sticker paper, if you are into printables, and I also have good papers for printing out your own inserts or trackers or anything for that matter. So I'm just trying to see what other element I can bring in. But then I decided it was a bit too much because I just wanted the focus to be on these cute animals. So I'm going in with that penguin who is like not sledding per se, but yeah, I wanted to cover that up. So I'm coming in and I don't want to quite use the whiteout. So see all the fun things you can do. And I'm just having a slight dusting of the salty ocean. And again, all these inks and everything will be in the description if you want to check that out, because I seem to be grabbing these in the summer and the winter, something for some fun elements to combine. Again, for summer, these inks make for the perfect ocean scenes. I do have videos if you want to check that out. And I wanted to make sure that I cover that up, but there is some of those peeking out on the right side of the penguin. So just something like these stickers. So it will go behind the penguin for ease of layering. And see how you can put a spread. It's not even a spread, it's just put on some music, have a session, a creative session for you. Just don't overthink it. And once you get over that initial feeling, then trust me, you will not want to stop. So this is just part one of that. So I do not want to kind of speed it up, and then I might again, because some of you might be getting bored. So I will be I'm almost done. So I'm off to the stamps now. So again, you can combine all of these. The possibilities are just endless, because let me just get my stamping blocks, and I will also kind of pick my ink. And with the stamps and inks and distress oxide, any of these things, it is always nice to have a good baby wipe handy, because you don't want ink getting on anywhere. So, finalizing on the inks, just trying to see what color will go best. And for the sign brush pens from the journal, say, I have the order, the pens in the order it is there. So I have just lined it up in that order so that I wouldn't, because the names I can't read them. I'm not sure what language it is in. So I'm going with the first one, which I have kind of picked. And I'm going to be, you could write directly on there. So sometimes I do that. I can always cover it up if I mess it up. That's a different story. But here I am writing my name. And yeah, I started that corner thinking I'm just using the page wisely, but then I realized that I need space for the Y in my name. So I'm just writing my name to the best of my ability. It's not perfect, but I think it will do. It has some personality, because this is my journal, right? So just whatever you feel like, you could letter it, you could add stickers, you could use the alphabets from all the sticker books we all own, or just print out your name. And if you think you don't have any of the fancy letters, just go ahead and print out your name and just stick it in. Simple as that. So I'm just going over that one more time, and I think I will go with that one, and I will stick it to the page. So I've done that, and sometimes I do kind of write directly on the journal. You always have a plan B, right? You have the option of covering it up with your name written, or you can just white it out and put your stickers, alphabets on top. So don't overthink it. So that is my first and the smartest tip, not just for me, for anybody. And I will also show you a couple of other spreads that, or not the spreads, a couple of other name pages that I did in other planners. It's not the journal, but it's always nice to take some inspiration. So I'm using that's the Tombow Mono Dots adhesive. So it is making sure the name is centered and just pressing it down, and I think we're good to go. So that is the name page all decorated. It doesn't have to be stressful. So onto the stamps now, and I'm just picking up a couple of these flurries from, this was, I don't remember, it was from one of the monthly kits at Coco Daisy. I've subscribed to their kits, and I'm taking out the stamping blocks, the acrylic ones. I do have a pretty good collection if you have seen me use it, so I'm just making sure I have the stamps on each block. So that's a bit too big, but that's the next size. I had a size in between, I can't seem to find it. So this is the Memento ink, and this is a fun ink, a nice powdery blue color. So I think it will be a nice contrast to the other colors we have going on. So let's just go ahead and do some stamping. So that's our name page, all nice and cute. So that's the idea number one, idea number two, and we'll go to the back page now. So that's our pen test, which was the idea number two. And now on to the third one, which is doodle in the last page. So it can be nice and simple, cute ones you want to try. It just breaks that barrier for you. I'm sure you can do a better job, because I was trying to kind of take some inspiration. As you can see, my phone in the corner there. And I wanted to do something quick and simple, but obviously you can do a better job when you get started on a smaller scale than this. Just, I wanted to show you these just as an idea. So I will do some basic doodling, something fun, something simple, just to help you overcome that feeling, and also make sure that you have some relaxing time for yourself. You could have some dots around that, and just continuing in with some doodly stuff, more for the winter ones, something smaller. So on to idea number four, which is use the sticky notes in there. And I'm using these sticky notes from Laurel Denise, and Priya 10 can be used for 10% off at Laurel Denise as well. And I'm just writing down 5 ideas that I would like to try or do in there, in that journal. So just trying to list them all out so that I can get to them when I run out of ideas. And this just makes things easier when you feel kind of that continuity in your thought. Like, okay, this is all what I would like to do in here. So that itself will help you get over that feeling of overwhelm. Now, on to the next idea, which is writing a letter to your future self. That could include what you would love to do in here, what you would love to see you learn, and anything that will help you motivate, like say I would like to try watercolors or try to stamp or try to do any other darker pigmented pens or inks or any of that. So all of that you can just write a reminder kind of thing for your self, and that usually gives you that motivation to keep going. So, the one last tip I have for you is to practice your basic strokes in the back with your lettering, say upward stroke or backward stroke or anything that will help. You can have lots of tutorials or lettering practice material that you can get online, and that usually gives you a good way of getting comfortable with your lettering. So I would say that would be a nice place to start. And if you don't like any of that, just stick the last page to the blank page in the back and you're good to go after your letter. So that is another great tip. If you are so feeling not like it, just stick it to the back and you're good to go. Your journal is all hiding that for you, whatever you are not comfortable with. So I hope this video was useful, and let me know if you have any other tips that you like to employ when you have that feeling. So please come follow me on Instagram, where I do have more spreads and more tips on my feed, and it's a lovely community to hang out with. So please come follow me there. I will have all the information down in the description. And please check out all the shops and products I mentioned, which you can test and try. And hope you have a great session with your journaling, and hope you have an amazing start to 2025. And please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notification so that you wouldn't miss any of my future videos. And please do share this with anybody who you think will benefit from these, because I see it all across multiple Facebook groups and even multiple YouTube videos mentioned about that overwhelming feeling with new journals. I'm talking about when you don't want to start using a journal and ruin it. But trust me, you will regret having waited for that long once you start. So just don't wait any further. Just dive in and let me know which of these tips you found the most useful and which totally resonated with you. I would love to hear all about it. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.